Good evening. I'm Christopher Sullivan Diaz. Our sports sticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Due to expected inclement weather on Friday, the Nebraska softball team's game at Minnesota tomorrow, April 17th, has been moved up to 3 p.m. The Big Ten Conference will usher in a new era of collegiate volleyball this fall with the launch of its inaugural tournament November 20th through the 25th, 2026 at Fisher's Event Center, home of Major League Volleyball's Indy Ignite. The conference announced on Thursday. The Nebraska track and field team is set to host the Big Red Classic on April 17th and 18th here in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Nebraska Outdoor Track. Action will begin Friday at 11 a.m. with the men's hammer throw and track events beginning at 1:30 p.m. Our sports sticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the Retirement Compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Our One of Sports Nightly is up next right here in the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
The 1-1. This one ripped into right center field. That will score Stokes. Coming around third, now being waved home is Moyer. Nebraska takes the lead. A 2 RBI single by Case Sanderson. Base hit to the outfield the way Jeter runs. Should be another one for the Huskers. This pitch is hit high in the air to deep center. Brooks chasing it to the track. Wall gone. A 2-run blast off the bat of Case Sanderson. His second of the game, and Nebraska gets some much-needed runs here in the 8th. It's 10-7 Cornhuskers. Benner's second and third, 2 outs, 2-0 Huskers in the 6th. A 1-1 to Hoffman. She swings, grounds back up the middle, past the pitcher, taken by the second baseman. She'll have no play. Runner trying to score. The throw home bobbled. Kuzak touches the plate, so she scores. It's a 2-run single up the middle and a 4-0 lead for Nebraska. One on the way from Jacobson, and Fromm swings and drives it. Center field and deep, and it is long gone. Home run, Jordy Fromm. A grand slam for Jordy. And a 10-1 lead for the Huskers.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks, on the Huskers Radio Network.
And hey, everybody, welcome in our final show of the week. It's kind of Friday for Kyle and me.
Already? No way.
Yeah. Like, you kind of have to work tomorrow. I have to work a little bit, but.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider that work.
Yeah.
We have the dedication of the new track and field facility, so we'll be there. You'll be there anyway, so you actually have to work it anyway. You volunteered to work it yourself.
Yes. I'm actually going to be your camera woman.
Yeah. So we'll get maybe an interview or two, depending on, I don't necessarily know what kind of availability head coach Justin St. Clair will have, just because they have a meet right after. But
we'll see what we can get.
If not, then I'm sure you'll enjoy a great ceremony.
Yes. We'll evaluate your MC skills, which I've already seen like multiple times. You do a great job at that. Speaking of great, I said I'd have a list of 10 at the end of the show. I'll bring those to you.
It was. You told me that you did make a list, so I was shocked. Yesterday it didn't go too well, and you mentioned 3 things that you enjoy about me, and 2 of them were about eating. So
you'll have to see what else I came up with. We have a fun show coming up for you. We teased it last night, but how about the duo of Lauren Cook West and Nate Rohr? I don't know how we get much better than that.
Honestly, you can't beat it. I've had the only one I haven't talked to yet would be Lauren Cook West, because you don't let me in on those interviews.
No,
that's a ladies' night deal. That is a
ladies only edition. It's kind of funny though. I talked to her earlier today, and I kind of realized this during the broadcast, because I was watching the TV show or the TV broadcast, and Coach Cook was in the analyst seat for the TV. And so I asked her a question. She goes, hey, why are you watching the TV and not listening to the radio? And so she's kind of mad that I was listening to her dad and not her.
She should be.
Yeah.
She should be all in on the radio.
I usually always do that. I always sync them up. But I was interested to listen to Coach Cook, and so I said, never again. It doesn't matter if it's Coach Cook. I'll always listen to Lauren.
Did you let Lauren know that she could put a bid in on for a giant inflatable of her father?
I should have let her know. I got to send it to her. I got to get her thoughts on that.
Giant John Cook Inflatable is part of the silent auction for the Champions Benefit Dinner, which we have our dinner. Maybe we'll touch on that as we go. But there's a giant John Cook Inflatable that's up for grabs. It's up to $1,800.
We do have a new website that you can go to. It is Huskers.com/TCB. The Champions
Simple
Benefit.
enough.
So TCB. Huskers.com/TCB. If you want to get in on any of the items, they've got some awesome stuff. And also, if you want to go to dinner with Kyle, Damon, and myself. Speaking of DB, you saw him today.
Yeah, so I was going to mention, too, I'm starting to see new parts of the stadium that I have not seen before, which is amazing.
You guys made it all right?
We did. It's right up the elevator. Right?
Yes, to floor 6.
Part of me, I make mountains out of molehills. So me saying not knowing where this is, it's the 7th floor of North Stadium. We're in North Stadium.
Yes.
So it's the elevator we take every single day.
You just have
hit
to,
7 instead of 2.
You do have to have special access, though, I believe. Did you not
No.
this time? Okay,
No.
well.
Maybe on game day you need special access because there's all suites and things up there.
Well, they might have changed it in the last couple of
It's a really nice
months.
area.
Yeah.
Outstanding area. Behind the north end zone, of course. It's a really cool vantage point. There's a lot of different suites up there. And exploring new areas of Memorial Stadium.
DB have anything interesting to say today?
He always does. He just kind of went through a lot of what the expectations are for football this year 4 for Matt Rule, and he echoed the sentiment that this is a big year for the program, continue to move things forward, and the fact that the foundation's been set. There was a lot in terms of what it took to build a culture here, build the foundation, the infrastructure, I guess would be a better phrase, as after the prior regime to what Matt Rule has done now, and it's a tough schedule and all that, but we sort of kind of went through the personnel, what we do here on Sports Nightly on a daily basis. Nothing that's really groundbreaking there, but talked a little bit about maybe the possibility of stadium renovations and what that would mean for a place like this. And Troy says it all the time, and I always like to ask Troy about updates on the stadium renovation. You have Zach Bryan who's coming in here next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do things like that, continue to do things like that, continue to get big acts here. That's why the stadium renovation is such a big deal, because this is a money maker. This stadium is a money maker. It's a revenue generator. So to get more acts in here, you have to kind of spruce this place up a little bit. And Damon touched on that a little bit.
Speaking of Troy Dannon, his AD show is actually going to be at
28th.
the end of this month. So
Yeah.
the 29th.
29th.
So, if you have some questions for him, he's always glad to answer. He's pretty transparent, which is pretty refreshing for an AD. You don't always get that. So if you have some questions here coming up over the next few weeks, text those in, 402-413-2400, and Kyle can start accumulating those and have them ready to go for Troy coming up when he makes his next appearance. So I think he's got some pretty big news to pass along and talk about here on his next appearance. So should be a great AD show coming up the next time he is in. Okay, so we had this in the ticker. Christopher announced it, but a Big Ten volleyball tournament. That's the big news of the day. And it was quickly put together from what we are hearing from Danny Busboom-Kelly. And again, the Big Ten Network covered it a lot today. They made it a big time announcement, and which is just, again, shows how big volleyball is for this conference, for the network. And they had Coach Busboom-Kelly on the show and get her thoughts on it. She seems pretty fired up about it. I think it makes and we'll hear more from Lauren Cook-West here in the next segment and her thoughts on it. But Coach Cook was always a pretty big advocate of it, but it kind of evens things out a little bit because, you had some teams that were splitting and playing at Penn State and then having Penn State at home, or at Wisconsin and having Wisconsin at home. And then maybe a team wasn't playing either one, or maybe only playing once at home. And so this evens it out. Everybody going to play everybody. 15 teams make the tournament. I think it's an opportunity to get teams on TV, and not everybody gets the opportunity. Nebraska gets on TV a lot, but not every Big Ten team gets that opportunity. So continuing to put the sport on a broadcast platform. So I think that's pretty big. And I think, this was something that we saw in the NCAA tournament. The SEC had a conference tournament, and then those teams Went
Which
on
is fairly new, too.
Yeah,
their tournament.
they just implemented it, but then those teams went on and performed very well. We see it in the basketball, situations where teams get a feel for what that tournament situation is like, and that one and done type of situation, do or die, or win or go home. And I think it could be pretty beneficial, especially when you are the way that the season played out last year and how easily things were. They swept so many in a row, and then having a challenge maybe potentially in a Big Ten tournament, and just how quickly that goes, and just that tournament feel, I think, could be very beneficial.
I think looking at it, I don't know. So Fishers, Indiana is the host of it this year.
I don't think that's going to be where it always is.
Yeah, that's my thought is, okay, what's the thought behind, are we going to rotate this? Is this going to be the venue? So it's the home of the Major League Volleyball's Indy Ignite. It's about a 7,500 capacity building. So it's not Devaney, of course, holds more. Devaney will hold near 10,000 after the full seat kind of reassignment and renovations there. And then Pinnacle's about 15,000, just to give you a little bit of a comparison. So 7,500 is what you would get in the cap. I've seen the arguments, okay, some of the earlier matches that maybe don't have a lot of the fanfare, you could get, it kind of feels better for television because you have a smaller venue as opposed to a cavernous, say, I'll use Pinnacle Bank Arena in my example. When you get down to the final few matches, the place is going to be, if it were 15,000, it'd be packed, or if it's 7,500, of course, it's going to be packed. When I talked to Troy about this, I had mentioned it probably a couple months ago when you heard rumblings, and he said it was going to happen. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. And he said, this is out of his mouth, that he put the feelers out there. Look, we'd love to have it in Lincoln. Pinnacle Bank Arena is a great venue. We saw it to start the season, right, with the AVCA showcase that they had in those two matches to begin the year. Again, this is the volleyball capital of the country, whether it's here or Omaha.
It's also more central, of the Big Ten.
Yeah, and that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, the league I'm coming from, they play the baseball tournament in Hoover, Alabama. It's kind of central. The football games played in Atlanta. It's kind of a centralized location. So the more that you can do that, but in a volleyball crazed state, it makes sense because you're going to have fans that are going to watch all the matches, not just Nebraska.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that Danny had said in her interview, that hopefully, again, it shows we need a bigger facility for this volleyball tournament. And so it will kind of force the hand to maybe find and explore a bigger venue. But I also think maybe you think about, it sounds like they put it together pretty quickly, and it was maybe a quick kind of conversation, and then they moved on it very quickly. Maybe they couldn't find an open spot, with as quickly as they had to move to make the announcement. And, you think about if you're even PBA or the CHI Center, both of them have men's and women's basketball, or men's basketball up in Omaha, and then here at PBA you have men's and women's basketball, you have concerts, you have a lot of things that you're going to have to work around, and that's those schedules that a lot of times get put in place a long time. So maybe they just didn't have the time to work out having those big venues, being that how quickly this thing happened.
Yeah, you probably, they schedule a year out in advance, right? For a concert at Pinnacle Bank Arena, you got to sell tickets, you got to know what's so. You're right. If you want to have it in a place like Lincoln, you have to make sure that not just one day's checked off. You got to have like a full week checked off, because you're not just talking about the matches, but the days leading up. Teams need to get into practice before those first teams need to get into practice. So you need a full block of time that maybe you're right. This specific time period maybe wouldn't even work for Pinnacle Bank Arena, even if it were in the discussion. And I'll probably ask Troy when he's in at the end of the month, is this going to be a rotating thing, or is this going to be something where it's in Fishers, Indiana for the foreseeable future? Here's another thing I think that was noteworthy is the regular season schedule is now going to be trimmed from 20 to 17 matches. So like we talked about with Nebraska playing some of these non-conference road matches that takes away home revenue, that's 3 matches, maybe 1 or 2 of those are at Devaney. That takes away a little bit of your home scratch that you would get. So I'm sure they're probably not thrilled with that aspect of it.
I think they are appreciative of the fact it kind of evens out. And we'll hear more. Lauren kind of taps into that, actually. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get to a break, because coming up on the other side of this, we're going to hear more about this, and also previewing the second spring match coming up on tomorrow, actually, against Creighton. So diving into that, also going back and revisiting the performance against Iowa State, all kinds of things You name it, we're going to talk about it with Lauren Cook West coming up next. The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store, only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. Direct TV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running. But it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with 0 down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, it's been a minute since we've caught up with Lauren Cook West, but she's back on the airwaves these next couple of weeks and last week as well. for the Nebraska spring volleyball matches. So it's been fun and exciting. She will be on the air this week with Matt Coatney because John Baylor is out of the country. So excited to hear those two together this weekend. But had a chance to talk about last week's first spring match against Iowa State. Also preview the match against Creighton coming up tomorrow night and all kinds of things. So here is a portion of that conversation with Lauren Cook-West. Were you surprised at all at how sharp they looked in the first spring match?
I was, because they came off of a beach season. So they really haven't had a lot of indoor practice time. They've been out on the sand, but I think in a way that helps. It's in a way rest on their bodies. They're not on a Terraflex or wooden court all spring. They're in the soft sand. Their bodies do get a rest in a way. And they're also, learning some new moves. In sand, you move differently than you do on the court. So they're training their body to move in different ways, to attack in different ways. They're being creative. You're training your eyesight in a different way. And I think all of that transfers over to positive outcomes on the court when they do transition back indoors. So I was surprised in a way, but I also think that when you go through a beach season and then you transition back to indoors, it gives you a fresh outlook and also just a fresh start with your body.
Okay, so we'll talk about the Creighton matchup here in a little bit, but I guess what will be some of the things that they will be looking to improve upon here going into the second spring match?
I think you're always trying to improve on serving and passing. I think Nebraska struggled with picking up tips. We were talking a lot about the defense, and normally the Huskers are a really strong defensive team, and there were just some openings on their side of the court, some tips that fell, some undisciplined block moves. So I think they're probably working on cleaning that up this week in preparation for the Creighton matchup, and serving and passing. And then maybe just continuing to mix it. I mean, we saw different lineups for each set. So I think just trying to establish, moving players around in practice, making sure everyone's playing next to someone new, building those relationships, building trust with each other. So when it comes to Friday night and Danny throws in a random lineup, everyone's prepared and used to playing next to whoever they're playing next to.
Okay, so you talked about the depth at every single position. So what do you think will be the biggest position battles here throughout the spring and even leading into the fall and leading into the season?
From what my sources have told me, Jessica, I think it's still going to be that libero position. And I think it's still a toss-up between Olivia Mauk, Lainey Choboy. And I don't know if by the time we get to fall, if we'll have a full-time starter in that libero jersey who, consistently starts every match and plays the whole season, or if it's going to be like last season, and depending on who the opponent is and, who passed or played better in practice that week, they're going to get the start, and it's just back and forth. So we saw both on Saturday. I think we'll see both on Friday. But I think that's going to be a really tough decision for this coaching staff to decide on what to do with that position.
You gotta love, though, the depth at the middles, losing Rebecca Alec, who's played a lot of time. That's one of your favorite things also is STM. I think they're going to be able to continue to do that.
They started off hot on Saturday. Bergen was feeding the middle right off the bat, and I was ecstatic about it. So, you have Kenna Cogill, you have Manayo Beche, you have Andy Jackson. There's so many different players that you can put in the middle. If one's struggling, you like I mentioned, you have that depth that can come in off the bench. I do think probably the top two middles that we have with the most experience game-like experience is Andy Jackson, obviously, and then Manayo Beche. So I think come fall, those two will probably be the main starters. But again, there's that depth coming in off the bench.
All right, I'm sorry. This is the last thing that I'll say that Coach Cook said in the TV broadcast. But he said that Bergen is the best defensive setter in the country. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. What I would love to know and what I would love to ask him is how she compares in his mind to Nicklin Hames, because it was a similar story when Nicklin was playing. She's the best defensive setter in the country. Nothing can get past her. She played some incredible defense. You may have to fact check me on this, but I believe she's on a Nebraska leaderboard for digs. I could be wrong. We'll have to check that.
Yeah, we'll have to check that.
But I know throughout her career, she had a lot of digs and just played incredible defense. So I would love to know, his opinion on how Bergen and Nicklin compare from a defensive standpoint.
Okay, so I got to get your thoughts on this. I'm on a committee for an award, and the female athletes here from a lot of different sports, it's so impressive. We've got an embarrassment of riches. I mean, when you're talking Jordy Ball, we've got so many choices on the volleyball team. It's just Axelina Johansson is a multinational champion in track and field. But if you were having to pick between Harper Murray, Andy Jackson, and Bergen Riley, if you could just pick one from last season, which one would you vote for? It's impossible.
I need you to be more specific. What are you looking at?
Female athlete of the year.
Is it court performance? Is it what they did? Okay, it's
strictly athletic performance on this one.
Oh, this is hard. Jessica, I don't know. I don't know if that's a fair comparison because Andy's only in there for 3 rotations, where Bergen and Harper are in there for all 6. So Bergen and Harper have a bigger load to carry on their shoulders compared to Andy. But Andy also, the attacking numbers that she put up, they were unreal. She was, she was the go-to attacker. When you needed a kill, Bergen would feed her and she delivered. And, but Andy can't get kills and Harper can't get kills without Bergen. And Bergen has to be able to, run a smooth offense and get her hitters in great positions in order for them to help them succeed. And then, she's also having, as a setter, you're like a quarterback, you're running the team. And so she's keeping them calm in stressful situations. But then Harper, she has to pass, and serving and passing are the 2 most important skills in the sport of volleyball. So if you don't have Harper in there passing, then, you can't get a great setup, and then Andy's not getting a kill. So good luck making a decision.
No help. Thanks, Lauren.
I don't think you could go wrong with any of them.
All right. So we've had some pretty big news items come out here over the last month or so. Let's start with the one that dropped today, a Big Ten volleyball tournament. You're a fan of this, correct?
I love it. And the biggest reason why is because you get to play every single team you get to play every single team once. And I think it's never going to be fair, but I think that's the closest to fair that you can get. And it's, some years, Nebraska didn't play certain teams, or we had to play certain teams twice or once. And it's just, now everyone has to play each other once. And I think that's a great move for just the Big Ten, because it's such a good conference overall. And there's a lot of talent, and I think it levels or evens the playing field.
We were chatting too. It might set up for a little bit, favorable, I guess, going into the NCAA tournament. It might allow for a little bit better schedule closing out the regular season, going into the postseason.
Yeah. What was it? 10 days off that you noticed that?
Well, not quite 10 days, but it's like you have the 2 days, but then you play, the Saturday would be the championship, and then Sunday would be the selection show. So I guess it's not quite that much different, but maybe gives you a better feel for, I guess, a tournament like that survive and advance type feel before you go into the NCAA tournament, that a lot of our other sports talk about, kind of getting that feel initially before you go into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps, and probably it relieves some pressure if you get that tournament like playing experience. And, also if you don't make it to the championship, but you still make the NCAA tournament, I think you will get a little more rest time, which is nice, because Jessica, you get to the end of November and you have players who are beat up, their bodies are run down. Usually it's 6th season. There's just and you saw Nebraska deal with it at the beginning of the tournament. We had players who were injured, we had players who were sick. And I feel like, maybe this, a little bit of a shorter Big Ten season, and then this tournament, maybe that in a way helps some of that.
Okay, so next news item, we'll move quickly through these, like a little bit like your rapid fire that you like to do. How about the Nebraska-Texas matchup that is going to be renewed?
I'm here for it. There's a lot of drama around the two programs, and I think it's great that they're going to, normally they don't see each other until the tournament, so I think it's great that we're going to see that preseason matchup, and there's going to be a lot of hype around that match. And again, it's another opportunity to help this Nebraska team. I think what happens in the preseason, a matchup against Texas, that's only going to help them in the postseason.
How many times did you play Texas?
That's a good question. We were in the Big 12 for a year, so we would have played them then. And then I don't know if we played them in the postseason.
Where does Texas rank among some of your biggest rivals in your mind?
Well, I think when we were in the Big 12, it was a huge rival. But I think even now with some of these, semifinal national championship matchups that we've had in the last, 10 years against Texas, I think it's just elevated that rivalry even more. Even though, we're not in the same conference anymore, I just think the
history is there.
The drama, the history, it's all there. And it's not Coach Cook and Coach Elliott anymore, but I think DBK, she has her own sass, and I want to see her and Jarrett go, head to head playing. I think, they've had some big matches, Louisville, when she was at Louisville and Texas. So I think it carries over a little bit now that she's at Nebraska.
All right. How about the volleyball match inside Wrigley in the Major League Baseball stadium? How about that?
I think it's really cool. I think we're continuing to build off the hype of the Memorial Stadium match. I just don't. I think at some point though it can be overdone, and so I just hope we don't get to that point where fans are like, "Oh, we've been there, we've done that." I hope that they are able to find a way to keep the excitement. Changing some of these venues, and it's a baseball field instead of a football field, and it's in Chicago instead of Lincoln, and so I think that they're working hard to find ways to still keep it really exciting and, still keep fans engaged, even though Nebraska's already achieved a big goal like this. How can we continue to mix it up and keep it fresh? And so I think they're doing that, and I'm excited to see it.
It's pretty interesting that basically anything big like this that happens with college volleyball, Nebraska's the first call, right? And so I got to imagine, too, it's a balance of, okay, we've got to play the matches that we need to play, and we need to get some home matches, too, in the non-conference. And so it just is, hey, you're in high demand to be able to do some of these big events, but it's just a constant balance of, being wanted, and which is great, but also knowing what to say yes to and what to maybe say no to,
I think it's a good problem to have, though. I mean, you're wanted at all these big time matches. People know that Husker Nation's going to show up and support no matter what. And so I think that's just a nod to how amazing this program is, the fan base, and how special of a place it is.
All right. I guess last news item to get to with you since we've last talked, but how about the retaining of the staff for Danny and, re-signing Jalen Reyes with a new contract and promoting him, but the rest of the staff staying on? I mean, how big is that, to continue to move forward with the staff? They're just some of the best in the game, and that continuity in the staff, how important is that for her?
Well, it provides stability for the players, knowing that, we're going to have the same coaches. Danny's not making any changes. We're building trust with her. She's telling us she's going to keep this staff, and she follows through with that. I think it also helps recruits see, okay, you came in, you're keeping this staff, you're not making any changes. Great. We want to be a part of this program because we know, in a year or two, you're not going to make changes. You're trying to keep everything really consistent. So I think it helps with the current players, and then it also helps with, recruiting and incoming players.
Okay, let's talk about it. Creighton coming up tomorrow night. We all know the history there, and in fact, we were talking the other day that until the I think Texas A&M, right? That was the last 5-set match. That was before the sweeps started happening. Wasn't that the last 5-set match that Nebraska was in last season?
It was.
Yeah. Okay, so how's this matchup look here in the spring coming up tomorrow night?
Well, so you lost two big players for Creighton, and Kira Reinhardt. She was a middle, and then Ava Martin, who was their really good outside, who played all the way around. And I think Ava was the bigger loss, and I think the big question mark is how do they replace her, because she was a kill producer for them. She was, I believe she was a captain. I mean, just a steady presence out on the court who was able to, produce and do a lot for them offensively and defensively. So how do you replace her? They have some interesting, Katie Dalton, setter from Kansas. She'll be running the offense. She was really good. Kansas was a great program. You have Aiden Ames, who transferred in from Texas. An interesting backstory behind her. She actually was originally committed to come to Nebraska, decided I'm never going to play behind Andy Jackson, Rebecca Alex, and these other middles. So she then switched and went to Texas. This was all before her freshman season. So then played at Texas and now has transferred to Creighton. So there's a backstory there with Nebraska. And then you have Sage Damrow, another player who transferred in last season from Wisconsin, who's a libero, and I think she's pretty talented. So they have some good ball handling, a good option at setter, a nice middle who replaced, Ames will replace Reinhardt. I just think it's how do you replace Ava Martin? And she was a big time player, and she's, whoever fills that position is going to have some big shoes to fill.
And I assume it'll be kind of the same thing going into this one. A lot of players going to play and get their opportunities.
I think Danny has to do that. I mean, you want to keep everyone happy. There's another transfer portal window opening up. You also want to see, what everyone's capable of. This is the spring. This is the time to experiment and test out different lineups and see what different players can do. And so I think we're going to see, I don't know if we'll see the same lineups that we saw on last weekend or if she's going to mix them up again. But I think we're going to see basically everyone and different lineups. And I'm happy to see that because I really, you had some players who played really well last weekend. Can they do it consistently? Can they play at a high level again this weekend, back-to-back weekends? And so I think that'll be a big test for some of the younger players.
So on that note, who might be the kills leader this weekend? There's so many that it could be.
I know. And I think we lost stats at maybe around the third set last weekend. So I don't know who ended up being kill leader last, but when you have two different setters coming in, Campbell, Bergen rotating in and out, you have all these attackers, all these different options. I actually think what Danny Busman-Kelly wants to see is just a balanced attack and a balanced offense and not one player going off over another. Just, everyone gets the same amount of swings and hopefully pretty close in kills.
That's definitely what they had last week. So hopefully they can keep it rolling. It's pretty balanced between a lot of different attackers. So you kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, it was humming last weekend. I had no complaints about the offense. The defense, that could improve, which I'm like, we're a great defensive team. So why do we, where's this coming from? But it'll come as the spring season moves along.
Great stuff always from Lauren Cook-West, our analyst on our Huskers Radio Network broadcast. And part of The Dig, an episode of spring volleyball version of The Dig, powered by Emeritus. Emeritus is proud to power The Dig and all of Husker women's sports. We'll get to a break and get back for a couple more segments here, a couple of short segments here left of hour number 1 of Sports Nightly.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Husker fans, if you're looking for a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding and provides flexibility, your local insurance agency is hiring. No matter your skills or interests, there are opportunities for you in the insurance industry. Explore the many ways you can use your skills to protect your community by checking out the IIAN job board. Find your calling and be a part of an industry that makes a difference. Go to IIAN.org/careers today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store. Only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. I do need to correct myself in that interview. We recorded it earlier in the day, and I messed up. I got confused on the dates of the Big Ten tournament. And Lauren was right. It could be up to 9-10 days that you get a rest at the end of the season. But either way, it's still better than what it was before, because you could play before your final match could be that Saturday or Friday, and then you have the selection show on Sunday, and then you play that potentially that Thursday. But if you're done by that Wednesday, I kind of got confused, but it ends on the Wednesday, so you might potentially not play till that next Friday.
If you expect me to understand any of what you just said, you're talking to the wrong guy. But
basically, if you're done playing in the tournament by either Tuesday or Wednesday, then you don't play again till that next Friday, potentially, in the NCAA tournament.
Get some time off. It's just like when you lose, it's the old argument with basketball you have a lot. Do you really want to make a long run if you're a good team that already has kind of your seed lock for the NCAA tournament, because then your legs get a little bit heavier, you're playing some high-intensity games, or do you want the rest for the NCAA tournament? It's an argument that I guess you have a lot in hoops.
And she mentioned this, but look at the the tournament game against against Texas A&M. It ended up catching up with Nebraska. They were fatigued. They were sick. They had some injuries. And
I think part of it was just bad luck.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Like Bergen Riley was
stepping on the volleyball.
They all had the flu, right?
Yeah.
And Bergen was still sick. Like a lot of them, we always talk about Bergen, but a lot of them were in tough shape leading up to that game.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily get talked about a whole lot. Like Danny was, and what's funny is I think I remember the show they did before you saw that they were going to be matched up with Texas A&M in a potential next round matchup. And I remember Danny saying at the time, like,
that's a 2 seed.
We should not be playing Texas A&M. Like, she knew right away. I remember talking to JB off air. Like, Danny was a little bit concerned about Texas A&M just because of how they matched up and all the bad luck that Nebraska faced in the postseason.
That full episode of Lauren Cook West will be out on our podcast platforms and our YouTube channel as well. All right, Camden, we got some questions for you coming up. You ready?
Uh-oh.
I'm ready.
People want to know about your training table experience.
Let's go.
And about your Olympic tickets experience, all right?
Okay, there's a lot there.
So we'll chat with you coming up on the other side of this break. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
Welcome back. Final segment here of hour number 1 of Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. We're also going to bring in Camden Cone here for this last segment. First of all, there's some chatter on the chat. Folks asking about our NHL teams. I don't watch hockey. Kyle?
Don't really watch enough to give you an answer.
Camden?
I watch very little, but if I had to choose one, it would be the Penguins because I went to school with someone that's on the team now.
Wow, who's that?
Rutger McGroarty.
Oh, yeah, I interviewed him.
Yeah, he was born in Lincoln, and so
that's awesome.
He was a year younger, so I went to elementary school with him until he moved to Michigan or wherever he moved. So
that's awesome.
That could kind of be my team.
Okay, I like it. All right, well, we talked about this yesterday. You weren't here, but you got your first experience at the training table that we have talked about all the time. So give us your perspective. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming at first. I had to take advice from everyone between Kyle and Jess on how to approach it, right? And so I started with Jess's method where you walk around the whole place, kind of take it all in and see what each station has. And then I kind of grabbed a little of everything from different food groups. They probably didn't really go together, but there was like a slice of pizza. I got some salad with some chicken in it and Italian dressing. And then I got rice, and I got like some Asian fried chicken, and then had to go for dessert and stop and get ice cream with Oreo crumbs on top. So a little everything. Nicely done. Speaking of the ice cream, Sam in Omaha had texted in that Mark Manning is at the ice cream station every day. Most days that I see him, he's sitting up at the ice cream station, and he's the one that got me hooked on the ice cream with the Oreos on top. So I actually saw him there today and gave him some kudos. Congratulations for the big get that he got out of the portal.
Yeah, and you were yelling at him yesterday because he was the one that got you hooked on the soft serve machine.
Like, this is all your fault.
He goes with the big cup.
Yeah, he gets a big cup. I try to stick with
Camden and Jess went with the small mini cup. He had the big cup.
Yeah.
I should have got the big one. I didn't know there was a big cup.
Yeah, you just got to go all out. When you have that chance. The only thing I told Camden, I said, just don't embarrass us.
He didn't.
I have a reputation there at the training table that I need to uphold.
You're there all the time.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Camden, how about your Olympics tickets? You were in if those that didn't hear us telling the story last week, you got drawn for Olympic tickets, and you were going to see what was available. When your time came open, we were giving you suggestions. So when you got in, what was available?
Yeah, so it was a little disappointing because everything that was still available was super expensive, and like all the medal rounds were basically gone. Like if you wanted to go to like gold medals of one of the swimming days, like the only tickets left were like $1,100. So
wow.
I wasn't going to do that. The cheapest other ticket for like a preliminary event was like badminton for like $200. So I wasn't going to do that either.
Were there any basketball tickets available?
Just women's basketball available.
Any volleyball tickets available?
There was some volleyball.
Were they crazy expensive?
Yeah, it was pretty expensive. And then you just don't know what day each team's playing. So like if you want to watch USA, you'd be like, oh, I want to see that one, but you just don't know what day. And so you're buying a day. And you just don't know. So between the expenses and what was left, I'm going to wait and defer to the next drop because then they release more tickets for more events. And theoretically, some of the cheap tickets might still be available if I get a good day for that.
So are you still like open to, or you have to get drawn again?
So like you automatically are into the next drawing again. Like I got to get drawn again, but like I'm automatically entered into it, if that makes sense.
So when's the next drawing?
They haven't said. I think later this year.
So we're just hoping for another Camden Cone drawn name.
Yes.
And Kyle's over here rolling his eyes.
I don't get it. I don't get it. You know what you also could do, Camden? You have a great couch. You have a tremendous. They make televisions in high definition now. I don't know if you knew that.
You can watch every event now.
They do a pretty good job. They do a pretty good job of televising these things. You can sit on your couch, have a nice beverage, have a meal, and watch it yourself there. For how much money? $0.
Hey, what about softball? Because that's just, you could
was
drive
the same
there.
Thing. It was super expensive. Like barely any tickets left, at least in that drop. So I don't know.
What would be your sport, Kyle, if you were going to get one?
Oh, I'd probably be hoops.
Yeah.
I do watch that. There's certain events that I do watch in the Olympics. It's just very rare. I'm not going to sit and watch, random riflers and things like that. We have
a good rifling team that might have an Olympian on.
I know. Like if there's a Husker connection, don't turn this on me now. If there's a Husker connection, I will watch. But that's why I said random riflers. I was very, very particular with my words.
Oh man, I'm huge into the Olympics. I had it streaming on my phone and the Winter Olympics is not even my favorite, but I was all.
You were watching snowboarding, everything. It was on 24/7.
Yeah. So. I'm hoping for you, Camden. I'm hoping things go better for you the second round. So, but people were interested. We got a text the other night after we were talking about your training table experience. So, we've gotten way overboard on the dings.
Training table dings?
Yeah. So,
there it is.
All right. So coming up next hour, going to talk some baseball and softball. Huge weekend for Husker baseball. Kyle's going to dive into the matchup, give us a preview, and then we're also going to talk lots of softball with Nate Rohr going to join us as well. So still plenty to come. I also give my top 10 great things about Kyle.
I can't wait to hear this.
Stick around. Whole another hour of Sports Nightly coming up next.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
Good evening. I'm Christopher Sullivan Diaz. Our Sports Ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Due to expected inclement weather on Friday, the Nebraska softball team's game at Minnesota tomorrow, April 17th, has been moved up to 3 p.m. The Big Ten Conference will usher in a new era of collegiate volleyball this fall with the launch of its inaugural tournament November 20th through the 25th, 2026 at Fisher's Event Center, home of Major League Volleyball's Indy Ignite, the conference announced on Thursday. The Nebraska track and field team is set to host the Big Red Classic on April 17th and 18th here in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Nebraska Outdoor Track. Action will begin Friday at 11 a.m. with the men's hammer throw with track events beginning at 1:30 p.m. Our Sports Ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the retirement compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
The 1-1. This one ripped into right center field. That will score Stokes. Coming around third, now being waved home is Moyer. Nebraska takes the lead. A 2 RBI single by Case Sanderson.
Base hit to the outfield the way Jeter runs. Should be another one for the Huskers. This pitch is hit high in the air to deep center. Brooks chasing it to the track. Wall, gone! A 2-run blast off the bat of Case Sanderson. His second of the game, and Nebraska gets some much-needed runs here in the 8th. It's 10-7 Cornhuskers.
Benner's second and third, 2 outs. 2-0 Huskers in the 6th. The 1-1 to Hoffman. She swings, grounds back up the middle, past the pitcher, taken by the second baseman. She'll have no play. Runner trying to score. The throw home, bobbled. Kuzak touches the plate, so she scores. It's a 2-run single up the middle and a 4-0 lead for Nebraska. One on the way from Jacobson, and Fromm swings and drives it. Center field and deep, and it is long gone. Home run, Jordy Fromm. A grand slam for Jordy. And a 10-1 lead for the Huskers.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly here on this Thursday evening. And again, our final hour of the week here on Sports Nightly is coming up tomorrow. We'll have a big one, Husker baseball on the air for game 1 of the series with USC. And I wanted to dive into that and preview that series here this weekend because this is huge, Kyle, and a big opportunity for the Huskers to continue to build the resume. I know they've been putting out some content on social media. Coach Bolt talked about it. They need it to be rocking out there. It's a huge kind of boost for this team when it's rocking out there. They can feel it, and it's really important to have a good crowd out there all 3 days.
Yeah, it was first time I'd really seen it rocking, I guess, was the Creighton game just because of the rivalry, and the weather was really nice. So that matters, of course, in baseball. And there was a lot of people there. I would suspect that it's going to be like that, especially on Friday. It's supposed to be nice. Sunday, it's supposed to be nice. And then the enormity of the series, you want to win a Big Ten regular season championship, put yourself in the best case scenario for the Big Ten tournament, which is changing its format a little bit this year. This is a chance to do that. I'm looking at the latest RPI, and USC was, I think, 7th or so, or they were in the top 10 to start the week. They're down to 12th in the latest RPI. So, but it's still a massive test. It's the biggest one left on your schedule. You had a chance. You had multiple chances to take the series against Oregon. Didn't do it there. So now you have a chance to play on your home field. The biggest challenge is going to be the weekend rotation for USC. You look at their team ERA is one of the best in the country. They'll come in 5th in team ERA, just under 3.5. So how do the Nebraska starters, who are now shifting around their weekend rotation? So Ty Horn came out of the bullpen on Tuesday against Creighton. So it's exactly what we knew it to be and what we thought it would be. You have Cooper Katsky, who now moves from the Sunday role to the Friday role. Yasa will be the Saturday guy, and then Blackowitz will be your Sunday guy. How does that match up against the USC starters? Can Nebraska's offense do enough over the next 3 days to find a way to win some games at home?
Got a chance to see some of the best pitchers in the Big Ten. In fact, 5 of the top 10 in ERA, in terms of ERA in the Big Ten, are going to be on the mound this weekend. So USC's got 1 and 2 in Mason Edwards and Grant Govell, and then Gavin Blachowicz is in at 3. So 1, 2, and 3 in the Big Ten coming up this weekend. And then you got Cooper Katzke in at 8 and Troy Newback at 10. So how about that? I mean, the pitching should be electric out there this weekend.
And every time you think something's going to go one way, it usually doesn't when you think baseball. So would I be shocked if somehow, Nebraska and USC all of a sudden are in a couple of slugfests?
It's like a 13-10 game.
All of a sudden it's just different. What I like about Nebraska is they've shown they don't shy away from the big moment. We saw it at Oregon, even though they didn't win the series. They were just constantly gave themselves opportunities to win games. I don't think it's going to be much different this weekend. Now, it's clear the ultimate goal was when Will sat here in early February, Will Bolt, we want to host a regional. They've not shied away from that expectation. Now, in order to do that, at minimum, you have to win 2 out of 3 this weekend. Be great to sweep. And that still doesn't guarantee anything when it comes to hosting a regional. You'd probably have to make a run in the Big Ten tournament.
Kind of running out of time there at this point.
But if any hope, something's got to happen this weekend.
It has to be done this weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So, but like you said, I think pitching is at least on the marquee going into the weekend. You have some of the best starters numbers-wise in the conference.
Okay, so earlier today it was posted the weekend rotation. So it'll be Cooper Katzke on Friday, Carson Yassa on Saturday, and again, Blachowicz on Sunday. Ty Horn moves to that relief type role. So what do you think? I think that's what you expected. You didn't want to break the news before they announced it officially.
Yeah.
But what do you like about this rotation?
Will had made it pretty clear on when we saw him before he recorded his show with Ben that they were going to make this move. Ty was very aware this wasn't a surprise to Ty. It seemed like he took it pretty well. And you could see he just wants to get out there and compete, and maybe a chance in a midweek for what you could consider a little less low. They're more low leverage innings because they're in the midweek, although I don't think they view it that way. They were big innings when he came in against Creighton. The energy was there at the ballpark, and he pitched really, really well in 3 innings. But here's the thing now. He's still going to play a role, whatever that looks like this weekend, whether that's same thing with Cooper Katzke. When he was the midweek starter, he still came in stretches, whether it was on the first guy out of the bullpen on Sunday, or if Yassa doesn't have it, is Ty Horn an option on Saturday? What's interesting is you look at where it is now. Cooper Katzke was a guy who was not in the weekend rotation a couple weeks ago based on he had an illness to start the season, which was an upper respiratory issue, which led to kind of a stiff upper half and shoulder area, which forced him out of the starting rotation. It just shows if you bide your time and you pitch well, they're going to, Rob Childress and staff, they're going to find a way to get you in, and all of a sudden he's their top starter, and he certainly has pitched like it. I want to see a little bit more out of Carson Yassa. Did not have his best start on Saturday against Oregon. Can he throw more strikes? Again, his misses aren't as vast, but can he stay around the strike zone? And then Gavin Blachowicz, this is what he wanted. He was pretty chapped when he came out originally of the weekend rotation. Well, now he has his opportunity to be that guy on Sundays, and he doesn't want to relinquish it.
So you've talked a lot this week about not giving up the big innings against this USC team, but where do the Huskers have to be good in this matchup this weekend to have a chance to do what we're talking about and take this series?
I think batters 1 through 4 in the lineup. They've been so good all year, so consistent. So who am I talking about? The Mac Moyers, the Jeter Worthleys, the Case Sandersons, the Dylan Careys. They were not quite that on Tuesday against Creighton. It was 7 through 9. Now, you need 7 through 9 to have a substantial impact in the game. The Drew Grigos and the Josh Overbeeks of the world, the Rhett Stokes. You need them to have some sort of impact in this game. But if the crooked numbers I'm talking about, the 3-4 run innings, they're most likely going to start with your 1 through 4 batters. Mac Moyer has been otherworldly. Dylan Carey's been otherworldly. Jeter's been great this year. Sanderson has been great. He's coming off a great weekend. Tough midweek, but he had 3 home runs against Oregon. If you want to win a series like this, it comes down to simply you need your stars to be stars. Who are your stars? Mac, Dylan, Case, all those guys need to find a way to make a big impact.
And, again, this is something I think that is talked a lot about this. When you have opportunities to score guys, you got to score, especially against this pitching.
Yeah, and they usually, for the most part, they've done a good job with runners in scoring position, especially 2 outs runners in scoring position. They did a really good job on Tuesday of getting runners in with 2 outs, and that's been one of the areas where I've been pleasantly surprised with Nebraska, is they have found a way to strike when their backs have been up against the wall and put up some big innings, which was the case the other day. They're probably going to need to do that again this weekend. Easier said than done, but 2 outs, situational swings. Who wins that battle is probably who wins the series.
Should be fun out there all weekend. Make it loud. Get out there. Support this team. I think we're going to see I think we're all expecting to see some really good baseball out there.
Yeah, it's big. This is big-time Power 4 conference baseball with an opportunity. This has implications to a Big Ten regular season championship.
All right, Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, from baseball to softball. Coming up next, the voice of Husker softball, Nate Rohr.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running. But it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with 0 down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody, and we welcome in the voice of Huskers softball, Nate Rohr. And Nate, I've been telling Kyle all week you're my new favorite voice of the Huskers Radio Network, because you gave me and Sonny a shout out last weekend.
It's somewhat shameless pandering to the fans to read their names on the air as we do games. That's why I do it. Quite frankly, I figure I'm going to screw up so often that I need to do things here and there to butter up the listeners. So
listen, all you got to do is put out a post on X, because he was asking, why don't I get a shout out? I'm like, just text him and he'll shout you out.
Well, the reality is, Nate, is I did give her and Sonny a shout out. She just wasn't listening to the baseball broadcast that day. So to amend what she says, she only listens to you and she doesn't even listen to what I say. To be fair.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's fair. I mean, if she listened too much to me, if she actually had a good base of comparison, I don't know that I win that battle with you, but I'll take the wins where I can get them.
Well, hey, can you believe it? Just 3 regular season series left. I feel like it's flown by. The softball season just goes at such a warp speed when you think about just how compressed our schedule is. 56 games, essentially in 12 weeks, 13 weeks. And then you put 5 games in a weekend, as we do the first month of the year. And then, you go half your season without playing at home. And so the things that would normally break up your perception of the season, I mean, it's just a sprint and then a breath and then another sprint. So the season's gone at warp speed. It usually does. And, especially how the schedule was set up, where Nebraska played the bulk of their home games in that March to first week of April window. It went really, really fast. And now we're on the home stretch and trying to finish it in the right way.
Of all the weeks, Nate, I was telling Jess this, to not have a midweek with the weather that we've had on Tuesday and Wednesday here at home. Of course, we don't have softball at Bowling this week, but it is what it is. Let me ask you this. I know you're outdoors on the card table there at Wisconsin, but your overall takeaways, not just on your broadcast setup, on how the team played in another 3-game sweep, and one of those series that you kind of expected this to happen. You kind of won going away in all 3.
Yeah, this team has maintained its focus, its business-like attitude, and you only need to look at the results the last 2 days in all of college softball to understand how difficult that is. I mean, Tuesday night, Alabama went over to a Samford team that's not having a very good year and lost. And then, last night, Texas Tech lost to Texas State. And, Oklahoma State's a little more of an even fight, but I would think Oklahoma would be the favorite in that one, and by a pretty solid margin, and they lost last night. So the idea of keeping your focus, putting your best self out there, game in, game out, regardless of competition, that's a tough task to ask of a team. And especially when you have a team like Nebraska that has played the best of the best, and then is now playing teams that are toward the middle of the pack, as Wisconsin is and as Minnesota is. Sometimes you can read the clippings a little too much, and you can look at the standings a little too much. And Nebraska came out and just dominated and played at the best of their ability. And that's what you have to do against those teams that you walk into that game thinking, hey, we have more talent than them. We're playing better than them. And Nebraska just came out, stayed focused, and played at that really high level. And there were holes in both games, or the first 2 games anyway. The Friday game, Nebraska scored a run here, a run there, a couple runs there, but never really landed the knockout blow. And then on Saturday, they scored 6 runs, but they were all in the same inning. So you had the one big inning, but you didn't have the constancy of scoring runs. And then Sunday, they just do everything. They score a lot of runs. They have the big inning, but they score in basically every inning as well. And it was really a pretty complete game. So this team is playing at its best. And it's so tough to maintain your level night in, night out on a 56 game schedule or a 50 game schedule as Nebraska has. The fact that they've been able to do it, I think, is a really good sign.
So I thought I read this wrong. I could not believe that this week was the first week that Alexis Jensen was the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. I was like, that's wrong, right? I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I will say she did get Pitcher of the Week about 3 weeks ago. And so she's got 2 weekly awards. It feels like it's taken the conference office a little while to catch up with Nebraska. And sadly, and this is one of the weaknesses of how the Big Ten administers softball, that very often they just take a stat sheet that has your week of statistics and go, okay, who had the highest batting average? Okay, boom, you're in, or the highest slugging percentage. And then, okay, you have a 0 ERA and you threw a certain number of innings. Okay, doesn't matter who you played against, doesn't matter who you beat, doesn't matter the quality of anything, just, the best raw numbers. And so when Nebraska was playing, 3 SEC teams in a weekend, or playing Texas Tech, or playing Texas, they might give up a couple of runs, but Alexis Jensen might be pitching the best of anybody in the conference. It's just, her best results in allowing 2 runs to a team that averages 11 a game, like UCLA. And unfortunately, the conference didn't take that into account. These last few weeks, Nebraska has just been so dominant, they have to recognize it at this point.
How has Jordy embraced this role, being the Saturday starter, but essentially pitching every day as a closer and setting that single season saves mark? How has she embraced maybe somewhat of a different pitching outlook for her in terms of her role this season?
I think she's really liked it. I think Jordy, even when she signed on to Nebraska, wanted to have a more constant impact than just, hey, I'm going to start a game or 2 a weekend and hold teams to a couple runs, 1 run, and then that's it. And I think that's reflected by the fact that she badly wanted to be in the batting order, the fact that she's playing a defensive position when she's not pitching. So I think that's just an extension of that attitude, where she says to herself, look, I can throw a complete game and have a pitching impact 1 game, or I can support Alexis Jensen, help her win game 1, come out game 2, and maybe throw a complete game. And then, Alexis and I split the 3rd game if we need to. So I think it just allows her to spread out her impact. And it's something that I think she's very happy with. I don't think this would be something this coaching staff would try to force on her. I think this is a situation she's happy with, in that it allows her to impact 3 games instead of 2 from the circle.
Okay, so Jordy and Alexis, I think it'd be very easy to point to those 2, right, as the MVPs of the season. But outside of Jordy and Alexis, who might you give the MVP nod to for this team so far this season? There's still a lot to play.
Sure. I would say Jessie Farrell. I would say it would be Farrell for a variety of reasons. She's been a very good handler of this pitching staff, and that's no small issue either.
Yeah.
And you think about what you have in these 4 pitchers with Fromm, Jensen, Hannah Cammons, and then McGee. I mean, they're 4 very different pitchers, and they're pitchers that are in different spaces in their careers. I mean, Jordy is the known commodity and is set in stone. Alexis Jensen is still trying to learn how to pitch at the collegiate level. You have a couple of pitchers in Cammons and McGee who are still trying to rebuild their confidence and feel like they can be effective. So her handling of the pitching staff has been excellent. And then her bat has been really important. And it's interesting to me. I mean, her overall numbers are really good. And if you just said, look, this Farrell's going to catch all but maybe 5 or 6 of your games to this point in the year and put up these numbers, you'd feel really good about it. But I think the numbers belie how important she's been to this offense, because, I think of the Friday game against Wisconsin, and she had that line drive home run when Nebraska was not doing much against Shelby Jacobson. And I don't know how many times it's happened that she has sparked this offense. And so you have the overall impact of what she's done offensively and defensively. And then you have the added impact of her being a real spark plug offensively. So that's my case for Jessie Farrell. There are certainly others on the roster that could put forth a really good case too. Hannah Cammons and Ava Kuzak, Hannah Core. But if I had to put a vote, it would be Farrell.
How about the season for Ava? I remember when the season first started, first couple of weeks, she was off to a slow start, and then that kind of snapped probably late February. And you look at the numbers, power numbers are there, 12 home runs this year. What have you liked about maybe what snapped in late February for Ava and the consistency she's given defensively at short?
Yeah, and we'll start with defense, because I think that's still the biggest question about her game. But she's been really solid at shortstop, and she's done the job that Nebraska has needed her to do. And, Hannah Cammonson's a pitcher that throws a lot of ground balls, and, Jordy at times can throw a lot of ground balls. So you need a solid shortstop to hold you up there defensively. And then the bat, the slow start to the year, part of it was Nebraska was facing great pitching. Part of it was she was battling illness, and she'd not had the practice time that she really needed to get herself set up. And so I was not, the slow start followed by the explosion wasn't surprising to me. But, when she's right, it's another power bat that you have to deal with. And especially where you have Jordy Fromm leading off, where you have Hannah Core up in the order and hitting well, you need somebody to cash them in. And very often it's Ava Kuzak.
All right, we've got to work into break here, but more conversation coming up with Nate Rohr coming up right after this.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store, only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody, and joined by the voice of Huskers softball for another segment, Nate Rohr. Nate, you hit on this a little bit earlier, but you look across the landscape of college softball this season, and I think it's the third straight week we have a new number one team, and really it's been all season. We've seen so much movement within the top 10, and what do you make of that and just the parity that we've seen across college softball here this season?
Absolutely. You know, talent has spread out a little bit. This is not 3, 4, 5 years ago when it was, can anybody stop Oklahoma? Probably not. You know, when you look at, you know, the vulnerabilities that Texas has, Oklahoma has been in and out, although I think they're charging at this point in the year. Alabama, you know, I don't know that loss to Samford is very indicative of who they are, but at the same time, you have to maintain who you are. So I just think there's greater parity across the board to where you have to deal with things in conference. And I also think, you know, the game itself has become more offense heavy. It feels to me like gradually we've been seeing more offense over the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But it really feels like it hit a tipping point this year. I don't know what it is. But, you know, when you don't have that pitcher that you can hand the ball to and say, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna throw a 3-hit shutout with 10 strikeouts basically every time you pitch. You know, weird things happen. People get hot. You get in situations that you can't get out of. Hitting becomes contagious. And so I think that's randomized what we're seeing in the college softball landscape a little more. And, you know, even those top players, Carlin Pickens got hurt. Tegan Cavan has been good. I mean, it's not like she's fallen off the face of the earth, but she can lose a game here or there. So I just think the offenses have come along to neutralize those handful of pitchers that would dictate the bulk of the games in college softball. And so now you feel like things are a little more random.
How often are you looking at the updated RPIs every single day?
Yeah, we started out at 5 at the beginning of the week and now back up to 3.
Yeah, up to yes. 3 right now in the RPI. The non-conference is the best in the country, so you combined a lot of different metrics. Let me ask you this from a fan's point of view that says, hey, I want to make sure I get tickets for a super regional if that comes around. What would it take for this team to not be a super regional host? I guess I'll ask it.
In the negative sense, I mean, it would take, you know, I don't want to tempt fate by setting up a number.
I don't like the question either. I don't know. I don't like asking.
But Nate, we've been getting that question a lot.
It would take, it would take a pretty substantial collapse.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, I mean, you know, Minnesota's RPI isn't great. Iowa's is not great. Penn State's kind of in that bubble range. I mean, Omaha's a top 40 RPI game at least right now. It would take a pretty poor finish, if we're being honest, and especially with the matchups that they have down the stretch. It would be a real disappointment, I think, at this point if they didn't get a top 8 national seed. because the RPI has held up. And that's maybe been my biggest surprise, and maybe the biggest, most pleasant surprise is over these last couple of weeks, whether it's teams at the top losing or it's the strength of what Nebraska did. But, I worried at some point, though the RPI picture looked good out of non-conference, at some point, just the weight of the Big Ten's struggles would drag it down. In actuality, the middle of the Big Ten's held up pretty well RPI-wise. I don't know how good those teams are. I don't think the conference is as good as I thought it would be or as it's been in recent years. But any worries that I had about Nebraska playing in the Big Ten and having its RPI dragged down have been pretty well relieved. And so, the worry that, hey, you'll drop spots in the RPI even if you win, that's been pretty well alleviated. It's just a matter of Nebraska going out and taking care of business in these last 10 games, and they'll have a really, really, really good chance to host a super regional. And if they're able to play at the level that I think they can, win a conference championship, and that'd be really special too.
I know you've been getting this question a ton about where this team ranks among some of the best in this program's history. I know you want to wait and save that to see how the season ends up, but being that Senior Day is coming up next weekend, and fortunately, it's great when you know that you're going to have another time that it's not going to be the last time that you're playing inside Bowlin Stadium, because at the very least, we know that they're going to play a regional inside that stadium. But how do you characterize the senior class? And there's a lot of them. And so what they've been able to accomplish and hopefully will continue to accomplish, where do they rank among some of the best of senior classes in this program?
Yeah, number one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question about it. Even Jordy's accomplishments alone would probably hold them up as a number one senior class. Then you look at what Ava Kuzak's been able to do, the Camden sisters. And then, you had Hannah Core, who's been a really good player for this team this year. And, of course, I'm leaving people out, but, it's really tough to measure what the senior class has done, because when you think about the great senior classes, the Andrews sisters when they came through, or you think of the Edwards sisters in 2014, you had 4 years. And so with Jordy Fromm, you only have 2 where she played more than one game. And so, on one hand, it's tough to adequately compare the impact. On the other hand, all you have to do is look down the third baseline at all the bleachers that got built.
Yeah.
They were built because of Jordy Fromm's coming to Nebraska. And because of the additional players that came with her, Kuzak and Core and on down the list. And so just for an impact standpoint, I don't know that you could have a senior class that had much more of one. And you're hopeful that the results in the NCAA tournament match that, because look, there are great senior classes in this program's history and senior classes that deserve their respect. But, Jordy Fromm made an immediate and measurable impact on this program the day she committed to transfer to Nebraska. That went beyond her just being a really good player. And so the ceiling of this program's in a different place. I mean, just third place in the RPI right now, this late in the season, for Nebraska to be third in the RPI is beyond my comprehension. So for that reason, this senior class is number one, but you hope they perform at that level through NCAA regionals and super regionals, and they get to Oklahoma City and make some noise.
We don't want to look too far past this weekend, but this Minnesota team, I'm looking again, RPI conversation, they're RPI 147. So it's a team that you look at it, they've struggled this year. What are some of the things that you see with them coming into this series on the road?
Like you said, the RPI is weak. They're not a team that really catches your eye as far as having anything notable. If anything, I'm a little pleasantly surprised with how they have held up in Big Ten play, because just observing them through non-conference, there were some pretty ugly losses in February and March. So the fact that they were able to keep their heads and hang in there and at least make some noise in the Big Ten, like I said, Nebraska is a pretty heavy favorite this weekend, but the fact that they've been able to do some damage in the Big Ten conference and hold themselves together is pretty notable. They have a Nebraska native on the roster, Macy Richardson, a Tecumseh native, and she's a two-way player involved for them. So that's something to keep an eye on. But, this is not the Kendall Lindemann Minnesota Golden Gophers. This is not this is not the teams that Jessica Allister built. I think they're really going through a transition in that program as Piper Ritter really asserts her control of it and paying the bill for all the changeover they had in that 5-year span where they went from Allister to Jamie Traxel to Ritter as a head coach.
Is the setup this weekend an improvement?
As far as I know, yes. They do have. So the last time we went there a couple of years ago, I was inside for the first 2 games, and then I was out on a patio for game 3, but it was elevated and the weather was beautiful and it was awesome. So but I've also not heard back from Minnesota. I emailed them a couple of weeks ago. But I'm hopeful of being inside and being taken care of. And damn it, I demand it.
Okay. Our fans like to hear this. What's number 1 road booth or road setup for you?
Sure. I would say Purdue number 1.
Okay.
I would say Indiana number 2.
Really? That's because they're like the worst football booth.
Yeah, it's very strange. They spent all their money on the softball fields. Well, but they spent on the baseball fields too. So Purdue and Indiana are probably my top 2. I would put Penn State up there, though I think it's been 13 years since we've been out there, but at least the last time we were at Penn State, it was up there. And I'll give you a sneaky one. And we were just there a few weeks ago, and it was great. Michigan State, for as much as that program has struggled, and I don't think their player facilities are very good. They make the softball team locker, I think, in Jennison Fieldhouse, which is not far, but it's not there. But the press box is great, and somebody left a Keurig coffee maker in there with water and K-cups. So I treated myself during that doubleheader. So those are my standouts. We've not been to Oregon since they built their new ballpark. So this may be an incomplete list.
You're speaking Kyle's language with the Keurig.
Ole Miss for basketball arenas when I was in the SEC went to number 1 because they had a Keurig. That was it.
Ooh. Now, see, I am, give me the big pot of coffee or a Keurig. I'm agnostic about that, but I need coffee. I need my coffee, especially in the Big Ten when it's 40 degrees and we're trying to play. Drove me, among other lacking accommodations at Wisconsin last weekend, it drove me nuts that they didn't sell coffee at the concession stand at Goodman Diamond. They only sold hot chocolate. Did I buy it, especially on Friday night? You bet I did. But I would have much rather had coffee.
What's your coffee? Is it straight black?
Black is my soul.
Wow.
Yeah, straight black coffee. I mean, once in a very long while, I'll have a dalliance with, some cream or sugar or whatever. But no, 98% of the time, black coffee, light roast. That's my thing.
Straight jet fuel. Love it.
We'll save your bottom half for the next time we have you on.
Well, yeah, have me on before the Big Ten tournament because, as it turns out, Maryland's in my bottom half, and that's where in our infinite wisdom, and with the news of today, with where they're having the volleyball tournament, clearly they let the guy that put the Big Ten softball tournament this year in one of the worst diamonds in the league also make the schedule and put the volleyball tournament in a dinky 7,500 seat arena. So instead of where it ought to be in Lincoln or Omaha.
That's what Kyle was just saying.
Yeah.
He said, do you want butts in the seats?
Omaha actually makes more sense, as Nate says.
Sure. I mean, hey, Lincoln would have been fine. Lincoln would have been good. They would have sold tickets like hotcakes. But, as we know, the Big Ten is all about competitive integrity over making money. That's why we have the Venmo rivalry series.
Oh, great stuff, Nate. We're looking forward to your call once again coming up this weekend. And make note, there has been a time change coming up this weekend. So 3 o'clock first pitch. So Nate will be on the air starting at 2:45 at the pregame show tomorrow. 1 o'clock first pitch on Saturday, so 12:45 pregame show, and he'll be on the air starting at 11:45 on Sunday. Thanks again for joining us, and we're looking forward to the call this weekend.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Nate.
Voice of Husker softball, Nate Rohr, here with us on Sports Nightly. Stepping aside for a break, we've got more coming up right after this.
Returns on the farm are under pressure, with market challenges and environmental hurdles putting every seed to the test. But you have an ace in the hole, Streamline Ag. Designed for every phase of growth and development, Streamline Ag gives your seed what it needs to thrive, from enhanced stand establishment and early emergence to essential nutrition and stress management. Streamline Ag gives your seed the power to reach its full potential. Visit us at streamline-ag.com to learn more.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
And welcome back. Final segment here of hour number 2 of Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. All right, Kyle, last night we talked about this on the show, that I would come with a list of 10 things I think you're great at.
Oh, okay. Wow, you actually made a list.
I did. I made a list, so I'm ready for it. All right, the 3 that I mentioned last night, I think you're great at play-by-play. I think you're a training table stand, and you're great at cleaning your plate.
Okay.
All right. You're great at laughing at your own jokes.
Okay. That's, again, another backhanded compliment. Continue.
You're great at dictating the TV.
Okay. Yep.
You're great at listening to the radio.
Okay.
You're great at slowing my walk down.
Okay.
You're a great next door office neighbor.
Okay.
You are great at rolling with my bossiness.
Okay.
And you are great at settling DB and me down when we are fighting on the air.
Okay. So I'd say about how many of those were actually backhanded negative compliments? I'd say the overwhelming majority was negative.
No,
so I appreciate that.
The clean
Maybe
plate
half.
one is a positive. You're not wasting food.
That's right. I do not waste food. But 2 of those I can't get over yesterday. You named 3 things. One of them was walking to eat and the other was eating.
No, 2 of those 3 are good.
Okay. I'll take it. Look, I'll take anything positive nowadays. So I like it. But, I take backhanded compliments well.
I need to slow down. That was a positive. Because I walk very fast all the time. I'm in a hurry all the time. So that's actually a good thing. And I'm not actually mad about dictating the TV because I never even turn it on.
You don't watch this TV, this
I don't.
giant TV,
I really
which
don't.
I think we're going to get more by the time football season starts. We already got one TV. I think we need one over in Josh's area over there so he can have a better view of some things. But we have even more TVs going into this place.
And listen, having a great next door office neighbor is important. It would be awful to have an annoying one.
I'm very quiet. My TV's never loud.
No? You don't try to talk all the time,
or at all, to be honest with you. So I think I'm
probably the annoying one.
You know, it's good though. You need to mix it up. You need two people that are on the opposite spectrums.
And I thought this settle down now. That's a funny one. That might be a story we need to tell on the dinner.
Which, by the way, is I think last check was still $700.
We do have a website, right? We got the website.
Yes, we have a link. DB tweeted it out.
What was it? I told you last night. I texted it to you because we have a different. I got it. Huskers.com/TCB, and that's for the Champions benefit that has the dinner available with Kyle, myself, and Damon.
So you can bid. Highest bidder gets to have dinner with Jess, DB, and myself.
The great at laughing at your own jokes. That's kind of a...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's something I do subconsciously that I don't realize that I do. But I also am
I've
really
joked about
funny,
it with you from the start of when you first got here.
I think the good thing is...
It's kind of a hidden joke.
What I like about you is that you don't hide the things that are quirky and weird. You just say it. So a lot of the times people will just say, oh, this is weird about somebody. I'm just going to kind of keep it to myself because people might be embarrassed about it. No, you just let it rip, which I like.
I mean, 8 out of the 10 are positive.
8 out of the 10 is pushing it, but yes.
7 out of the 10 for sure.
I'd say about 6 or 5.
No.
But again,
the ones that are on there are funny that we have joked about.
Backhanded compliments are still compliments to me. I'll take anything.
All right. Okay, well, hey, we've got another busy weekend of sports coming up here on the network and also just to watch for here coming up this weekend. And you're going to be a part of one of them. It's really exciting here on campus, the track and field. They're going to have the official kind of unveiling, I guess. They've already been in it, and they had a little bit of a meet a couple weekends ago, but they have the Big Red Classic both Friday and Saturday starting at 11 a.m., but they're going to officially, I guess, dedicate it tomorrow, and you're going to be a part of that.
Yeah, ribbon cutting ceremony. So Troy Dannon will be there. Coach St. Clair is going to be there. Some members of the Board of Regents will be there. It's a gem of a facility that will host championships, not just one this coming spring with the Big Ten championships, but in the future, a lot of big events will be there. And tomorrow, they're going to have a lot of outdoor events. Starts at noon, I think, the meet, and it goes all afternoon. So if you want to watch that, come out. And I think the media will be out there tomorrow. It's a short ceremony, but one to kind of jumpstart and kickstart the new facility.
Men's gymnastics pursuing potentially a national title, some individual national titles. That starts tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and then the finals will be on Saturday night at 6 o'clock and it will be on ESPN2. Talked a lot about baseball and softball. Baseball will have 6 o'clock first pitch, so 5:30 pregame on tomorrow night, then 2 o'clock first pitch on Saturday, noon on Sunday. And then, of course, volleyball. Volleyball back on the air again coming up on Friday with Matt Coatney and Lauren Cook-West, 7 o'clock and 6 o'clock with the pregame show. So lots going on. Should be a fun weekend. Lots to watch. You going to go out to baseball maybe?
I'll probably walk out there, have the boys in my ear, maybe listen to some Coatney too on Friday, and Nate and everybody. And you'll be listening to Nate. He's your favorite.
Yeah, probably. I'm going to try to get out to baseball too. But all right, that is going to do it for us. Enjoy the weekend, Husker Nation. Thanks to Camden Cone. For Kyle Crooks, I'm Jessica Coody. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on